Pickup trucks used to be purely utilitarian, and I reckon that's why they call them utes down under. Sorry, that was a lame attempt at an Aussie accent. No offense to my Australian viewers. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that pickups have evolved so drastically over the years. From being strictly workhorses, they now offer more creature comforts to serve as comfortable and convenient daily drivers.
And for those of you who want something more badass, you can get something like this that has loads of personality.
You never fail to make a grand entrance. Pickups these days have to appeal to a broader audience, from the working class to the badass. And today I team up with Reagan from Reagan's Rides to showcase 3 variants of the Ford Ranger, namely the FX4, the Ranger Raptor, and the Ranger WildTrak. You know what, Ray? I actually learned to drive in a pickup. It was an early model Navara, and it had no power steering, no power windows, no power period.
Wow, well, pickups back then were clunky workhorses. I'm guessing you probably learned to drive maybe in the mid-80s?
It was actually the mid-90s, bro. Okay. Anyway, Ray's also going to feature these 3 variants on his channel. And if you want to watch that video, please click here. And I'm sure you'll have loads of fun watching that.
Yeah, bro, and we have loads of work to do now because we've got like 3 variants to cover.
Okay, time to get the show on the road, man.
All
Let's
right.
go. So I'm going to start with the most affordable variant here, the FX4. But across the Ranger range, this can actually be considered as the mid variant because you also have the XLS, XLS Sport, and XLT, which are all priced below this. And what sets this apart from those variants is essentially more goodies, which isn't only confined to the exterior. For starters, you get leather seats, a leather padded dashboard, and leather covered armrests. There's also this glossy finish in the middle of the dash. Now, as you'll see later, this may not have all the bells and whistles that you'll find in the Raptor or the WildTrak. But trust me, this does not feel low rent. So you get manual AC controls, manual seat adjustments, and analog gauges. But you still get the same infotainment system, which comes standard with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The only difference between the infotainment in this thing compared to the Raptor and WildTrak is the fact that you don't get Ford Sync 3 voice commands or the built-in navigation system. But that's perfectly fine because you can always use Waze. There's also an electrochromic rear view mirror, rain sensing wipers, dual airbags, and parking sensors. I do wish the backup camera was standard since that's a really handy feature. But nonetheless, the FX4 is generously equipped for its price point, and we haven't even covered the exterior yet. Outside is where the FX4 really stands out. You get 18-inch blacked out wheels, a grille that is unique to the FX4, black touches on the door handles and side mirrors, and an FX4 decal that runs across both doors. At the back, you get a bed liner and a black sports bar and a high mount stoplight and cargo lights. Now this costs 80,000 pesos more than the XLT variant. And some of you might be thinking, okay, then just get the XLT variant and do the upgrades yourself. But good luck getting all these upgrades for under 80,000 pesos. Because on the wheels and tires alone, you'll already be spending a significant amount. Because underneath its skin, it's essentially the same as the base model trims. You get Ford's trusty 2.2-liter TDCi diesel engine that pumps out 158 horsepower and 385 Newton meters of torque. This may not have class-leading power, but it's definitely no slouch. No, not at all. However, I am the only one in the car right now, so I'm not hauling that much weight. When you max out the 1.3-ton payload capacity and 3.5-ton towing capacity, that's when the engine might start to struggle. But what I've always loved about the Ford Rangers is that it doesn't feel like a truck to drive. It actually feels a lot smaller. And you can attribute that to its steering. Not only is it light, but it's also pretty responsive, especially for a pickup. In fact, other pickup manufacturers can take a page out of Ford's book on how to tune steering for their pickup trucks. It's that good. Now, I'm already quite impressed with the FX4. Let's see what else the WildTrak has to offer. Now, I'm in the WildTrak, and this interior goes way beyond functionality. Dare I say that it almost feels premium in here? And I know that word gets tossed around quite a fair bit, but this interior can really put the interiors of other pickups to shame.
You basically get all the niceties found in the FX4 with the addition of side and curtain airbags, ambient lighting, dual zone climate control, smart keyless entry, and push button start. You also get 4.2-inch LCDs for your instrument cluster, and the infotainment in this comes with Ford Sync 3 voice commands, a built-in navigation system, and a rear view camera.
And even if this has been around for quite a while now, it still feels fresh compared to some of the competition.
On the outside, you get a revised bumper and a slightly different grille and sports bar. You also get roof rails and a different set of 18-inch wheels. Additional features include puddle lamps, LED DRLs, and LED headlights.
Now, the exterior of the WildTrak may not be as flamboyant as the Raptors, but personally, I like it because it manages to be macho and appealing without being overly rugged. Now, the difference between this and the FX4 isn't purely cosmetic, because under the hood of this thing, you get Ford's newer engine, the 2-liter single turbo, which pumps out 180 horsepower and a healthy 420 Newton meters of torque. And as you can see, that's more than enough. So this definitely feels lighter and faster than the FX4. And that engine can also be mated to either a 10-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual. Similar to the FX4, this has a double wishbone suspension at the front and leaf springs at the back. And overall, the ride is pretty compliant. And there's also minimal body roll around the bends. Now, I'm the only one in the car, and yet the ride doesn't feel jarring. So it's pretty good. Another mechanical difference between this and the FX4 is the fact that this has a rear locking differential, which allows you to distribute power evenly to the rear wheels. Let's head back and check out the bad boy, the Ranger Raptor. Okay, so now we're in the big daddy of the bunch, the Ranger Raptor. And figuratively speaking, this is the loudest of them all. Because even when you're at a standstill, there's no mistaking this for the Ranger Raptor.
That's made evident with touches such as this leather-wrapped steering wheel that has blue stitching, and this red strip that serves as an on-center indicator. The seats are a mix of leather and Alcantara and sports the Raptor nameplate. Unlike the other two variants, the center of the dash has a matte finish.
You also get these pedal shifters, because this is a performance pickup after all.
The Raptor's gauges are analog with an LCD screen in the middle that shows you different drive modes. There's also metal scuff plates and sports pedals to further remind you you're in a performance pickup.
And in terms of features, you get everything you can find in the WildTrak.
With the addition of power seats and a host of safety features such as autonomous emergency braking, lane keep assist, and a driver alert system.
But what really sets the Raptor apart is its exterior.
At the front, you get a frame-mounted bumper and a grille that tells you that this is a Ford just in case you missed it. Underneath, you get an aluminum bash plate that tells you this was made to conquer roads less traveled. Along the side, you get flared fenders. But that's not the only place the Raptor has more muscle, because under the hood lies a 2-liter bi-turbo engine that packs a class-leading 210 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque.
So you know that this isn't the all show and no go, but that only isn't in terms of power.
Because underneath, you get a tougher chassis and race spread suspension care of Fox shocks that provide 30% more wheel travel compared to other Ranger variants. The compromise there is a lower payload and towing capacity.
But this variant was never intended to be a workhorse. This wasn't built to help you do your chores. This is a performance driving machine. It's an enthusiast's car. It's a grown man's toy. The automatic version of the FX4 can be yours for 1,316,000 pesos. And if you need a workhorse with some personality and a decent set of features, you need not look further.
So if you want a rugged workhorse that has enough cabin amenities and creature comforts that would please even your wife and kids, then you can't go wrong with the WildTrak, which you can have for only 1,455,000 Philippine pesos.
Now that may seem like a significant difference, but considering everything you get with this, that's not such a bad deal.
But if you really just want to have a grown man's Tonka truck because you understand that you don't stop playing when you grow old,
You grow old because you stop playing, then you need to swing 1,998,000 pesos for the Raptor. And that's not such a bad deal because you'll be infinitely young. Not a bad deal, right?
definitely not a bad deal at all.